in my own hometown. Stranger.
Howdy folks, Little John here. Brew day, and today we're doing an IPA. Nothing out of the ordinary, just a straight up standard IPA. I've cut back the recipe from a Gecko's Foot, which I done earlier in the year, which was 100 IBU double IPA. So this one's been pulled back a little bit. I'm going for a more drier, more the standard sort of original West Coast sort of IPA style. So I'll be doing a 16 litre batch. So I've got 4 kilos of Pilsener. In the Gecko Foot I use Marisota, so that's pulling it back a little bit to make the body a little bit lighter. Kilo of Munich, just to make sure we've got that nice maltiness in there. We don't want to have, no malt in there. And I'll also be sticking in 100 grams of pale crystal. Again, just to make sure there's that nice little bit of malt there without going too crazy. So let's grab 100 grams of that. I've got the got my mash water in the tun. It's just a little bit too warm, couple of degrees high, just allowing it to drop back down to mashing temp. Now I'll be mashing at 64, which is a few degrees lower than I normally wouldn't. Again, that's just part of that, getting that lighter body on this one. This is going to be more a summer IPA, so something that's a little bit easier to drink. It's still going to be somewhere around the 6% alcohol. We're aiming for an original gravity on this one of 1057, and I'm using a fresh slurry of Mengrove Jack's M44, which come off the Fortnight Pale Ale, which I bottled just 2 days ago, so it's nice and fresh. And I'll be pitching that pretty directly. I'll pop a little bit of water in it a bit later just to give it a little bit of a wake up. So I'm expecting that to get down around 10-13 as a final gravity, about 78% attenuation. Not sure how that'll go. I haven't used the slurry on the M44 before, so but I generally pick up an extra couple of percentage points on the attenuation. So I think 78 is within the realm, especially with the slightly lower mash temp. And hop wise, I'll be using Simcoe for bittering, and some Fortnight, some Centennial, and some Citra. Simcoe's going to go in at 40 minutes, and the rest will drop down every 5 minutes and 15. Then I'll do a dry hop a few days in for some Cascade Citra and a bit of Galaxy, just to really punch the fruit, and still keeping that light feel. Not really looking for something too dank. The Simcoe might add a little bit of dank in the bitterness side, but then it's going to come through with lots of fruit in the follow through and the finish on the mouth. So should be a nice, light, easy to get into brew over summer. Obviously 6%, you're not going to down too many of them, but it's not the 7% like the previous IPA I did. So that's where we're at today. So shortly I'll get over, once this, go and check this temp, get this mash happening, get the grain in, and we'll roll on with the day. Okay, so water's just about right. I'll start putting the grain in. Make sure we get a good mix as we're going. We'll make sure we get that all the grain wet. Make sure we're not getting any clumps, what they call dough balls, which is big clumps of grain that haven't been wet, because that'll obviously reduce our overall efficiency and the amount of sugars we extract, which at the end of the day will affect our alcohol content. So let a good mix in. The temperature's just coming up. At the moment I think we're about a degree or two below where we want to be, so we should be pretty close. By the time we've got all this mashed in, Pilsener grain, some Munich, there it goes. Now this stuff, this grain I've bought is just pre-packaged from my local country brewer. I have Marisota, I buy in bulk, I buy it in a full sack and milliliters I need it. And I buy just I guess the specialties ready done. The local shop has them ready milled. They do a reasonably good turnover of specialties and stuff, so it's fairly fresh. I know it's not been sitting there for months or anything like that, vacuum sealed, so it's not, it's not ideal, but I'm not going to muck around buying in specialties. I've tried that before and I end up just throwing stuff out, so I get too much, so it works to do it that way. And that's 100 gram of our pale crystal. Get that in. As I said, so we're looking to mash this at 64 degrees. Now there's 20 litres of water in here. I'm mashing it just under 4 litres per, or just under 4 litres per kilo. You really need, they recommend you need at least like 3 litres a kilo is probably the mark you want to be aiming for. Because I'm only doing a 16 litre batch, it leaves the mash tun fairly low, and I just find it works a little bit easier. I've got around that 20 litre mark in there. It'll get us the end result we want anyway. Now I think we're going to be pretty close to where we want to be there. Temp control is telling me we're on 60, pretty much 64. Let's do a double check with the old trusty hand for order. And it's nudging, it's nudging up towards 67, so I'll just adjust the temp controller back down a few degrees. It normally runs a little bit off. So I'll aim back to 61. Righto. I'll let that do its thing. Pump stop, that'll sit for a little bit now. Come back down to temp. Won't take too long. Just make sure we've got a good mix in there. All good. Lid down a little bit on that. So, we'll leave that now, can let that sit for an hour, and we'll come back and we'll sparge. In the meantime, I'm going to duck down, got to go get some gas so I can do the boil. So I'll see you a bit later on when we're sparging. Rightio, so we've gone through the mash, 64 for 60 minutes, and I raise up to 72 for a mash out. Now, previously you've probably seen me do a fly sparge. Today I'm just going to do a batch sparge. I'm not going to muck around on things going on. So I'm going to dump my sparge water directly into here. Now, so got my water here in the from the HLT, which is now sitting about 85 degrees. Outside. The old brew dog making a racket. Now, so I'm going to put in about 13 litres of water in here. I added an extra 2 during the mash, and it jumped up a little bit more than expected. So I'll put 13 litres into here in one go, as in one single batch, hence the terminology of batch sparge. Mix this all together and I'll let this sit for about 20 minutes and I'll run that off into the kettle. So that's pretty simple, so I'll just get this done. We'll be back a bit later. Righto, so we've completed the sparge obviously and the transfer, and we've got the boil underway, and we're actually coming up to the end of the boil. I've got the you see the chiller in there, hot bag. So we've got about 2 minutes left on the boil. I've got all my hop additions in there. We've boiled for 60 minutes. The chiller's been in there now for about the last 10 minutes, just getting sanitised in the boil. So very shortly I'll go and shut down the gas, get the water flowing, get this cooling, and then we'll get it transferred into the keg. Well, into the fermenter even. You can see HLT nearly out of water, and the remains of the grain, which I'll dig out shortly and throw them out. And we had a few spillages along the way. Isn't that great? Lost about 4 litres due to having that tap open and a hose falling out. We're doing the transfer from the mash tun. So, but refractometer sample says I've got my numbers bang on, and our volumes aren't too far off, so I'm pretty happy. Okay, so finished the cooling, the chill, and we're ready to transfer the fermenter. I'm sitting on 24 degrees there at the moment. It's 22 degrees here in the garage, so that's not going to get much cooler. So I'll get into the fermenter and then into the fridge, and we'll get the last couple of degrees off in there. So when they transfer over, it's looking pretty cool, pretty clear. It's looking quite nice with the hydro sample on that. Let's see where we sit now. And we'll give this some splashing while we go and get some air in there. I can't be bothered pulling out the pump at the moment. I'm only going to get about 16-17 litres in here, so get a good aeration this way. That'll do me nicely. Looking around about 10:58 there. I was after 10:57, so we bang on the mark. Happy with that. And we'll just see how we end up volume-wise, but I think we're going to have no real problem. There's just under 20 litres sitting there, so we should get 17, 18 without any trouble. I'm still getting used to the the boil offs and the efficiency numbers on the new kettle and the with the Herm system. I still haven't dialed in my numbers correctly. So the volumes are out, but the gravities are good, so that's just a little bit of tweaking. I'm not too fussed. Alright, so I'll finish this and I'm going to pitch the yeast. So what I've got, it started going there. You can see there was a slurry in there. It was about, probably estimated about 130 millilitres of slurry there. And I've added about 60 mils of this wort I took off at the end of the boil. We've cooled it down. I added that to the slurry. It's bubbling away already, so that's reinvigorated. That's good. So I'll pop that straight into here. The whole lot will go in the fridge. We'll set the temperature for 20 and leave it there for about 7 to 10 days. We'll throw some dry hop in probably about day 5. It should be pretty well finished fermenting at that point. So we'll throw in some, throw some Cascade, some Citra and some Galaxy in for the dry hop. I really like the Galaxy works really good for dry hop, and the Cascade works fantastic. I don't like Cascade as a flavour hop, but as an aroma hop in that late edition, like with the dry, it works really good. And saves using your higher price hops. Not too much the dry hop. I will throw some Citra in there, but yeah. Sometimes you got to throw shit to the wind. That's along there. It's sitting on 10, we've got 11 litres there at the moment. Yeah. Righto, so that's our IPA. And again, if you've got any questions, stick them down the bottom. Any comments, put them down there as well. Check out the Facebook page if you want, get on the website. But if you stick the questions down here, I can answer them. Any process, recipes, anything like that, any stuff like that, we'll put it down there. And we'll report back on this one in a few weeks' time when it's finished, bottled, and get a chance to taste it. So, till the next video, I'm looking at you again. Good brewing.